showing an arcs in focus or not. I'm trying to do that just to see whether or not the it looks a bit milky. Let me just I can't stop it down with this. Let me just see if I can stop it down a little bit. I think it's wash it out. Hold on. That's a bit better. A bit better. Yeah. So this was, if you saw me start this yesterday, this is how it ultimately ended up. Yeah, it's what oil pastels do. There's a lot of colour over colour over colour to get the right tonal values, and there's still a hierarchy of importance as well. You know, this doesn't matter. You know, I spend time rendering this. It becomes too illustrative, which is what I'm going to talk about now. And so the focus is this. You know, this is where the focus is. Everything goes towards that. You know, the halo around it pushes towards the face, and all the rest of it. It's just that is the important bit. And all portraits, that's the important bit. Everything else is just a supporting role. And for me, I tend to focus on the important stuff, and if I get to finish the rest of it, fine. But if I don't, at least I've caught that, you know. Anyway, so that was oil pastels, another oil pastel. There's a little bit of white oil paint as well in here, just because I don't have a white oil pastel white, so I used oil paint to put the extreme whites into it. This is the follow on from the illustration thing yesterday, because I was talking about the illustration when I was doing the illustration as a sideline. We used to call it moonlighting. You know, I suppose to still do it, but I did it weekends and evenings, you know. And sometimes at work, if we were not busy, I would do not for other people, but for the studio. But so I was wiping the charcoal off the bottom of the easel. But I used to say that, I think somebody said it to me, that illustrators do it for the money, artists do it for love, and that was my kind of generic differentiation between one and the other. I'm trying this guy, by the way. That was it. You know, I just sort of a simplistic way of looking at it. But it got me thinking yesterday when we were talking about the illustration side of things. You know, the determining how you approach something in terms of your own personal evolution or direction, which is the same thing, I suppose. It just got me thinking about the purpose and the reason thing, you know. And apart from my reason of, you know, I do it for the joy of doing it. I just want to do it, you know. I think that if I was to say, you know, try and put a better description on the differentiation between one and the other, between an more illustrative approach and a painterly approach, I'd say that an illustrator, and this may well determine what you'll become, wants to show the world what they see, but a painter wants to show the world what they feel, and that's for me, that's the big difference. So it's not about for me, how well I render something. It's not about how well I or accurately I capture something. For me, it's I want to if I want to capture anything, I want to capture the way I feel about something. I don't just want to capture what I see, and that I suppose is the differentiator between the two. But I think mostly what I was trying to talk about yesterday was the decision to go one route or the other, to actually practice particular things that would ultimately result in you going a certain route. I think that's the thing I was trying to get across yesterday. The thing is that people if this is not sort of nipped in the bud, if it's not initial decision, you end up where you're in a position of serious confusion in terms of because I've just seen somebody talking now about their well, it was on a video about finding time to do it, and it's a little bit, that's a bit misleading. I mean, I'd say personally, if you want to do it, you'll find the time. It's as simple as that. It's the same with anything. But you got to do it for the right reasons, right? So you don't do it just because you want to do it. You do it because it brings you joy. And I guarantee you that if you do it because it brings you joy, you'll never stop doing it. Even if it's a 10-minute bus ride, just seeing the Adi, I can't pronounce his name. And he sketches all the time on the tube, not the guy that does the photorealistic things and it's all staged and all that. Not him. The guy that is the head of some Royal Society. Amazing kid. He was on the TV. He was like a TV, not a TV artist like back in the day. He was the go-to art critic stroke. Artist, he demonstrated as much as talk about it, and so if there's joy there, it's like anything, if it brings you joy, the sweet biscuits and all that, chocolate biscuits, you'll go out your way to grab a biscuit, won't you? So if it brings you joy, there's no stopping you. You don't have to. I'm going to allocate this time for doing this. You don't have to do that. You just, as I said before, you don't need a reason to make art. You need a good reason not to, right? And if you don't do it for the right reasons, i.e., for the joy of doing it, you're just doing it because it's and you're bogged down by the requirements. I was saying yesterday about the you must do it 1,000 times and this, that, and the other, and draw it from any angle and what have you. If you're bogged down by that, you're never going to want to do it, are you? There's no joy in that. At some point, you live on the hope for tomorrow. It'll be one day when I crack this, I'll be really good at it and I'll be really happy. No, you won't. You're going to be happy now. No matter how it turns out. But anyway, this person has got they said what I said about the Instagram being poison and they said that's the words they used. That Instagram was poison, and the reason why it's like that is because they confuse admiration with inspiration, and think that a lot of people do it. Look at there's a thing there where somebody was banging on about artist block. You should look at other people's work, look at people, and all that. This is what they were saying: copy other people. It's just like, it's got to be the worst advice that anybody would give you, but that's what they were saying, and this is quite a common thing. People say, look at other people, great work, and copy what they do, and and it's just like going to make things worse, isn't it? And and why people can't see that, I have no idea. But the problem is that with this person is that they just don't have the right mindset. So that's the reason why. You know, these people that say they've got to isolate themselves in order to, you know, get to. In fact, one did put this to get to know the craft, to develop the craft a bit. Well, if it's craft that there's your problem. If you're thinking about painting or making art as a craft, then there's your problem, because you're always going to compare your own ability with other people's ability. Craft is just a side product. It's not really, like I said before, skill is a consequence of intention. It's not an intention on its own right. But like I say, this is my take on these things, and I see people struggle with these things, and I think that's just why is it not me? Why is it only me that gets this? That thinks that it's all a bit unnecessary. You know, I think the thing, as I said, if you enjoy doing it, if you feel restricted by time or whatever, you're just looking for excuses. That's what it is. I mean, I know it's kind of harsh, but it's true. Because as I said, if you're doing it for the right reasons, no one's going to stop you. You know, it's like the kids. If I want to get home to my kids, I'm going to get home to my kids. I don't care. I have to swim, fly. What's that famous film? You know what I mean? It's that. It's no one will stop you if you really want to do it. It's just people are just so willing to give into all these crazy ideas about how what this is about. This is not complicated. It's not complicated at all. Anyway, so yeah, I worry about whether or not I'm sounding like I'm preaching a little bit, but this is, as I said before, this is what drives me. This is how I'm driven. So if it sounds like I'm preaching, I'm just telling you how it works for me. That's basically it. If it doesn't suit, if it's not for you, if it's you know, being unreasonable, then I'm sorry. I don't mean to be like that. I think that sometimes I'm a little bit ignorance of other people's experiences. I think that's probably what it is. I mean, this is everything I talk about is my experience. That's all it is, and my approach to what I do is my experience. If it's not somebody else's, it's very difficult. But the only thing that for them to understand, but the only thing I would say is that when I see people talking like that and saying, "Oh, it's difficult, this, that, and the other, and not enough time, and whatever," I can't help but think, you know, you just kind of fix your mindset. So when you fix your mindset, all that goes. You know, you'll make time. You'll find time. And the learning thing, that really winds me up. You know, as I said yesterday, I've done all that. And it's a waste of time. I've done all that, squaring boxes and whatever, and all everything else. Waste of time. That's not the way to learn. It's not the way to become an artist. It's the way to learn to illustrate. That's what it is. But it's not the way to become an artist. It's a different thing. You know, I started doing this. Saw my mate yesterday doing a portrait of somebody, and he did it it was purely linear. And I thought, oh, today I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do it because I was impressed with what he did. So I thought, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. And for some reason, it never turns out like that. It just this is the other thing about that I think you've got to embrace is that it may well be how they do something or how somebody else does something that works for them. You know, it looks great and all the rest of it, and they achieve whatever. But that doesn't mean to say that it'll work for you, or it's going to be you. The thing about the response side of things is that you don't really know what your response is going to be like, what it's going to be. You could. And the other thing is that, you know, the medium, you don't really know how that's going to work. I mean, I choose to use things that are within my grasp, if you know what I mean. I also choose mediums that don't get in the way. So, I think that's all part and parcel of the mind, having the right mindset. I don't think that without the right mindset, I'd be able to do this. I think as soon as I start, for instance, with the guy that did the very linear portrait thing, it was just like a tracing of a photograph, really. But he obviously didn't. But it had that kind of linear feel, outliney linear feel. But I sometimes, it depends. Sometimes you've seen them where they've been just a pure linear thing, and sometimes it works like that, and sometimes it doesn't. So it's just it's whatever it is. It's whatever it is on the day or at the time that I'm doing it. I think also back to the medium thing. I think the medium for me is a big part of this. So if the medium responds in a certain way, then I'm likely to let that be the driver, so to speak. I think I wanted to show you what happened with yesterday's oil pastels, but I wanted to just say about the difference between an illustrator and a painter, an artist. I think to many people there is no difference. I think illustration is a big part of what they do, to illustrate something. I think that's a different, the realism thing is a different. It's driven by different priorities. To illustrate something is the focus, I suppose. To illustrate the buttons on the shirt and the fabric and all the rest of it. And doing that is the achievement. That's the thing that denotes the success. How well you captured the fabric. But for me, it's in the moment thing. As much as anything else, I can't really say that it's going to be this, that, and the other. Which is why I couldn't say that this was going to definitely be an outline like my friend did, but an outline sort of treatment. But I think one of the main things about that statement as well is that it's never about the treatment. It's never about the technique. It's never about those things. People say to me about style and technique, and I like your style and technique and all that. And I'm offended in a way, because it's not about those things. Not for me. It's not. I mean, to other people it is. It's just because people focus on the doing, don't they? And this is back to the illustration versus the artist, the illustrator versus the artist thing. Like I say, I think a lot of people will disagree and think that it is to be able to capture things realistic, folds in fabric, for instance, and all that. It's to them is the goal, the epitome of what it is to be an artist and to make work. And so you get a lot of people doing that, and then of course you get the genre thing. This is a impressionism. This is, people get bogged down by that. Another one of those things that I don't understand. You can be anything you want. One day you can be an illustrator, next day you can be an artist, next day you can be an abstract painter. And, who cares? just do it. If that's what you fancy doing. And I think that's probably why, and that comes from my multidisciplinary approach to illustration. I can paint and draw on whatever I want. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And no one's telling me any different. You know what I mean? And whether or not it's as good as someone else's and all that, I don't care. Because somebody can do that in watercolors and they say I have to do it. Which all of this is like anti whatever. You see the style of watercolors at the moment, which is all this washed out street scenes, that kind of haziness thing. And that's a I can't say it's a trend. I mean, I suppose of our time. These are watercolorists now do that kind of thing. They're illustrators. That's what they're doing. They're making pretty pictures. But as I say, it's for me. I can do whatever I want and whatever. And I think the strength is that it's like with these. The strength is the fact that it's just doing. It's just in the moment. I'm assessing how the medium's working and making it work the way I want it to work, and not thinking about how it should work and whether or not other people do it in a different way and all that. You sort of and I think that all rests on your drawing skills. And I'm talking about visual skills. I'm not talking about a response skill. I'm not talking about mark making. Mark making is part of drawing, but it's not drawing. Anyway, so this started off as with an intention that never manifests. But yeah. As I said, I just wanted to talk about the illustration and artist thing. I think that the why I want to talk about it is because I think a lot of people, me included, which is why I feel so connected to this. I think a lot of people stop themselves from becoming anything simply because they don't recognize the difference, and whether or not they are one or other, or whether they're both, or what component of them is the illustrator, if there's a need to be an illustrator. I think the problem is that everybody comes to it and think, oh, it's just about copying a face. If it's portraits, or just about copying a landscape. If it's a landscape, if you're a landscape painter, and then it's technique that you want to focus on. A lot of people come at it from that. Then you've got all the problems of technique and learning techniques, and then you got the problems with mediums, because the mediums are going to impact on your technique, and it gets quite complicated. That's why I'm saying that's why a lot of people struggle. But I don't see why they should struggle. So that's really why I talk about this stuff, because it's been my struggle, which I don't have anymore, as you can tell. I'm not saying what I do is brilliant or the best or anything like that, by the way. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I love doing this, and you should love doing it as well. Whether or not it's going to be admired and respected and all right, who cares? Who cares? Who cares what people say about it? Whether or not you're going to win a competition, who cares? Who cares about that stuff? time thing. But love it. Just love doing it. Find what it is that you love and keep doing that. You'll always find time to do things you love. It's as simple as that. Or to be with the people you love as well. You'll always find time. You know, that's the one thing, because I said it when I packed in all those years ago that I hated doing it. And it's the one thing that I'm conscious of all the time. I never want to get into a position where that happens again. I hate doing, you know, making art, hate painting and drawing. I don't want to get in that position again. So I'm quite aware of everything. So if ever I get in a situation where I can feel that I'm focusing too much on certain things for whatever reason, because sometimes it's about the teaching side of it and trying to help people and trying to get into their sort of mindset, and that in a way is the place where I used to be and I don't want to be. So I've got to be really careful of doing that. So I try not to. And so far it's worked. I think most of what I've done is a consequence of this determination to stay away from the things that make me unhappy or things that make this unpleasurable. I managed to keep away from stuff like that. So and as I said, that's probably the reason why I want to tell everybody, you know, because I think that everybody should love this. You know, if you're going to do it, you've got to love doing it. It's like anything in life. And that's the reason why I sort of bang on about these things, I think. I want people to share the joy. That's all. So this is done. Got a sudden signal then, and it was time to stop. Let me just fix this here. It's got to come. Yeah. There are a few things that I'd fix, but not many. Just that's annoying me at the moment. Highlighting there. These, get rid of that as well. These pastel pencils are great for drawing with. You know, if you were thinking about learning to draw with these things, because they you get this somewhere between. Use a grey one if you want, or a black one, but they're somewhere between charcoal and graphite. They're not charcoal pencils. They're too blendable, you know, because of it is soft pastel. But they're great for drawing. I think mainly, and this is photocopy paper, so it's not really about, you know, the complicated and expensive materials. I mean, I think these are Conte pastels. So I think I had a look on eBay. They're not that much money. It might be a tenner or something for a box full, but you only want one. So, but they're great for drawing with. Okay, so we get rid of this highlight here. Just a highlight there, really. So anything underneath that doesn't want to be highlighted. It's a bit lighter there. It's darker there. Yeah, here, and this is going to be darker as well. Here, there's only a little bit of a highlight there. There you go. There you go. Because with the like with charcoal, you're getting that inner depth of tone as well. So it's not just, you know, you can apply more pressure and you're getting that inner depth, which is for hair and things is great, because really it's all hair is about. It's just about those varying degrees of tone. This is the tonal balance thing. So there's mid-tones and darker elements and some highlights there, but the relationship of those three tones is different to those tones there, or those tones there, for instance. So there's the same things there. They've got highlights, mid-tones and darks there. You've got highlights, mid-tones and darks there, but it's different. This is further down. I suppose if you want to do those stupid scale things, this would be further down the scales. But that's the balance of things. That's what I refer to as a tonal balance. But as I said, these pastels allow you to do that, to create the inner, you know, depth of tonal relationships. Yeah. So yeah, if you can have a go with these, but don't be frightened of them. That's the thing as well. I've seen people draw with these, and they're just as frightened of using these as they are using charcoal, and that's not good. I mean, you shouldn't be frightened of charcoal or using these, but that's the problem. Okay, so it's done. Right, I will catch you in the next one. Yeah.